Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Socialistics podcast. Happy post-holidays, I guess. This is being recorded a couple days after the official holiday break, the holiday slowdown, another phrase I use to describe it because everybody kind of checks out. I'm guessing this next week will be somewhat similar. It's usually kind of like a 2-week period where everybody's kind of mentally checked out. Business usually, not always, slows down. It hasn't slowed down for us too much, but enough for, I think, the team to take a deep breath and kind of re-energize themselves and get ready for the new year, and which will hopefully be a much better year than 2020. But I have a feeling we've got a couple more months at minimum before we can get back to whatever normal was. It's kind of been so long that I think I'm starting to forget what that was like, but I certainly look forward to that. Even being the introvert that I am, I certainly miss the freedom of just going out and getting something to eat or just going somewhere. So I kind of look forward to that. But so I'm winging it again this week. No interview this week. We're lining up some new folks in the beginning of the new year. So you get me again. And I decided that I had something that I definitely wanted to talk about this week, especially during this time of the year where hopefully a lot of people are able to kind of decompress a bit and think about what they're thankful for and spend some time with family and all that good stuff. And certainly I've tried to do that myself. And it has been an interesting year, to say the least. We started really strong and really had a trajectory that I felt would have us hit that coveted $1 million agency mark. But certainly the world had other plans, and that kind of threw a wrench in that trajectory. That being said, we recovered quite well. I think a lot of businesses and business decision makers, after about 3, 4, 5 months, realized that, you can't press pause on everything. You really have to kind of figure out how to navigate these sorts of things. And so business picked back up. And while we won't hit 1 million this year, we got close. And all things considered, especially, there's a lot of businesses and people that are suffering and doing far worse off. So I'm not complaining. I'm really proud of what we've built and what we've accomplished this year, and I'm really excited about what that means for us moving forward. But for me, when I started Socialistics, it was an interesting journey to get there. I always was kind of wired to be an entrepreneur. Anybody that's listening to this, there's a lot of people that can relate to that. You're just kind of wired that way. I had a 20+ year career, following a traditional path for the most part. I had jobs, I had managers, I sat at a desk, I had to commute to work. I did that whole thing, but was never really wired for that. And, I just never, for whatever reason, I wasn't ready to take that leap. I wasn't ready financially. I wasn't ready experience-wise, mentally. Everybody's kind of different in their path and how they get there. There's plenty of stories of men and women that jump right into it, when they're young, and whether it's, they had help or they were able to. I wasn't. I thought about it all the time. I gave it a shot about 8 or 9 years ago, but I wasn't ready then. And while I learned a lot from that experience that helped me build a successful agency now, I wasn't ready then. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that, for whatever reason, I was ready. I was ready to kind of take that leap. And the biggest thing for me was getting past the fear of not having that consistent paycheck, health benefits, 401k, the stability of a real 9-to-5er. I always felt like I had to have that to take care of myself and my family. And the reality was that stability that I was always looking for was always right in front of me, which was doing my own thing, controlling my own fate. And when I finally figured that out, that's when things took off. And I couldn't be happier to have experienced that. But that being said, yes, running your own business and making, a lot of money and being successful and being able to navigate your own when you work, when you don't work, and all that good stuff. All that stuff is great, but it's not what really drives me. And that's really what today's episode is about, is if you're running a business or you're thinking about running a business, whether it's an agency or anything, you really have to kind of figure out what is it that really excites you? What is it that really moves you, that fuels what you do? And for me, it's not how much money we make. It's not about money, and it's not about, some of it is about, living a life of freedom. One of our core values that we're very communicative about is freedom. Like, one of the things from day one, I want to build an agency where people can live life on their terms. They get to choose when they work, where they work, how they work, all of that good stuff. And there's nothing more powerful than that, to be able to wake up every day and know that you are in control of that you are not, yet your life isn't dictated by what you do. You're not chained to a desk. You don't have to sit in a vehicle for 3 hours a day going to and from work. And granted, look, there are a lot of people that have to do that. There's a lot of people that choose to do that. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. But for a lot of people, the flexibility and the freedom to be able to live life on your own terms and live like that is an incredibly powerful thing. And one of the things for me that that gets me up every day and pushes and has me working my tail off is knowing that I am giving that to other people, the folks that work for Socialistics, to be able to live that kind of life, to fight for them, to be able to build something that's going to give them that kind of life. Like, that is like the most awesome thing. Like, whenever my time on this planet ends, that's what I'll think about, that I was able to give people that type of life. And not only that, but I grew up in a single parent environment. I grew up with it was just my mom and my brother, and father wasn't part of the picture. He didn't pay child support. So we had a rough go at it. My mom worked her ass off. She worked a lot to support us and to provide the best life that she could for us. But we grew up poor, for a lack of a better way of describing it. There's different levels of poverty, but we definitely struggled. And at the time when I was a kid, I didn't know that. I don't think I really grasped that. We made the most with what we had. But looking back now, I realize that we didn't have a lot, and she really did have to sacrifice. One of my favorite stories that I tell all the time is about how I wanted to play baseball as a kid. My entire childhood, like from 5 years old till I was 12, like, I was a huge Cubs fan and grew up in the Chicagoland area. And back in that day, we lived in this apartment complex, and we'd go out and that's what kids would do. We'd go out and play baseball. Like, you don't see that anymore, which is sad in and of itself. But we would go out and play ball every day. And my dream was, like, I wanted to play Little League baseball. And a lot of my friends did, and I didn't, because my mom, we couldn't afford it, and she couldn't, she had to work all the time. So we couldn't make it work. So I always wanted to do that. And over time, I kind of gave up on it, thinking that it was just not in the cards for me. And I think I was 11 or 12. And then one holiday season, she writes me a letter, and I open it up, and God, I wish I would have kept this letter. That would have been one of the most awesome things to still have. But she wrote a letter saying that she was going to pay for me to play Little League. And I remember I was so excited. I can remember that feeling of, my mom giving me something that I wanted so badly. And at the time, I don't think I realized how much she was sacrificing and what she was doing to be able to pull that off. But I was just so happy. And interesting story. I played. That was my first year of playing Little League. My first at bat, I hit a home run. I don't think I've ever hit a home run since. And my mom was there. She was at every game. And I made the All-Star game as an alternate that first year. And coach didn't put me in the game. And I remember my mom, bless her heart, she pulled the coach aside, and I don't remember. I don't know what she said. I think I remember this from stories she told, but she said, "You're going to put my son in this game, and I don't care if he's an alternate." Sure enough, he puts me in the game, and I get a base hit. So it's just things that I remember like that. Those experiences with my mom, and how much I cherish that. And she's not with us any longer. She passed away quite a while back, but I think about her and those experiences all the time. And the reason I tell these stories is because I have a soft spot for hiring single parents. Usually, I mean, let's be honest, it's usually single moms, but there's single dads out there too. But single parents that are struggling to balance work and taking care of their kids, in a lot of instances without help from the other parent, logistically or financially. So I have a soft spot for that, and I've had the honor to have hired people in that situation and give them the ability to be with their children, take care of them, spend more time with them. That is what drives me. That is what really, when I hear stories from folks on my team, like I had a gal on my team kind of text me, I think it was on Christmas Day, and she just shared this really heartfelt text about how much this opportunity has meant to her and what she was able to do for her daughter for the first time in a long time. And I see stuff like that, and I'm like, this is why I do what I do. I mean, yes, we're about servicing clients and trying to deliver results for them, and it can get easy to forget about what really matters. And it's just good to be reminded of those things. And for me, that's why I do what I do, to give people awesome lives, so they can take care of themselves and the people that they love. That's what I do what I do. Why I do what I do. That's why I fight. That's why I work hard. That's why I stress and feel anxiety when things aren't exactly the way that I want them to be. But that's what pushes me through, is to give people, I think in some way is to give other people the opportunities that I didn't have. I had to fight for everything. I never really had a great manager, not too many mentors in my life. I've had to really figure a lot out on my own, and my way of kind of, I guess, dealing with that is to try to give more to other people, that to give them the things that I didn't have. So that's really what drives me. And ultimately, I think if you're thinking about starting an agency, or even if you're running one or a business, you got to figure out what that thing is for you. I don't think it really can be just, wanting to make a ton of money, or, things of that nature. I think it's got to be, it's got to be something more tangible, something more meaningful to you if you really want to build a sustainable business. I'm sure there's plenty of examples of businesses that have been built that are successful without those sorts of things, but it's, for every one of those, there are thousands of others that don't. And I think when you find that thing that really drives you and drives your passion and really kind of tugs on the heartstrings, or whatever the case may be, that's what's going to fuel helping you as a business owner kind of get through a lot of the challenges and roadblocks, because they happen, and they happen all the time. Those are the things that help you kind of work through that. And I just feel very fortunate to just to have what we have, and to be building what we're building, and to be doing it with such awesome people. It's hard to find, awesome people that really fit the culture that we're trying to build. It takes time, and we've been fortunate over time to kind of find right people and build off of that. And especially in a virtual environment, it's tough. I mean, look, virtual works. If you have the right technology and the right people, it works, and it works really well. But that being said, nothing can replace being in the same room with people. And honestly, when I think about next year, I think the thing that excites me the most is getting past this pandemic, so that I can bring us all together finally, and just be able to be in the same room with everybody and relationship build and spend time together. I mean, I think that's what I look forward to more than anything. So, I think as a virtual agency, it's important that you work in some sort of regular, retreat or event that you kind of get together to kind of help build those relationships with folks, and celebrate your successes and talk about stuff like this. Everybody's got their own personal reasons of what drives them, and it gets them to push through difficult times. So for me, it's definitely thinking about the work that I do that ensures that everybody that's part of this team gets to continue to do what we're doing. So I couldn't be more thrilled about that. So that was my winging it episode to just kind of talk about, I guess, what the real reason for why I started Socialistics and what drives me to keep it going. And hopefully if you're listening, you get something out of this that you can relate to. And if so, let me know. I'd love to hear your stories as well, whether it's over email or a Zoom call or whatever the case may be. I love hearing other folks' stories. So that's it for this week. Quite frankly, that's probably it for this year. So for those of you that have listened, thank you for that. As always, leave feedback, like, share, review, all that good stuff. It helps validate what I'm doing here, but I'm going to keep plowing through regardless, because Rome wasn't built in a day. I couldn't think of a better phrase. I know that's oversaid, but that's true. It takes time for these sorts of things to kind of take shape. But then again, we're not doing it. I'm doing it really just it's cathartic for me to have a platform to kind of talk through what I feel and think as an agency owner. But my hope really at the end of the day is other people get something out of it. So hopefully that's the case. So thank you for listening. Hope you all have a great continued holiday break, and we will catch you in 2021. Thanks for listening.